Well, good morning. I'm really happy to be here. I love talking to students. Like Lynn said, this is one of the most rewarding parts of our job. We have some bureaucracy we sometimes have to deal with as well. And so I'm sure both of us need to get back to that, unfortunately. Talking to a group of students is very personal for me. I have 2 children working on their PhDs, and I hope somewhere in the world someone's talking to them as well. And I also have a stepdaughter who just defended her PhD thesis last Monday. And she has a husband who has a PhD, so I'm very proud of my family. But I asked them, what do you want to hear when you hear people like me talking to you? And what they say is, I want to hear how you got to where you are, and you heard a little bit about my bio, what you actually do, and how I would fit in to what your organization does. And so I thought I'd just spend a couple minutes there. They had mentioned I spent 11 years actually at Oak Ridge National Lab working on energy and science problems. I then went to Los Alamos and got involved in the national security problems there for 13 years. And for the last 4 years, I've been a federal employee, which is quite a change. And what I've learned through the years, as a matter of fact, my son asked me one of the hardest questions anyone's ever asked me, and I was like, an 18-year-old is not supposed to ask questions like that. And what he asked me was, what would your younger self, graduate student, think of your current self? I was like, wow. Whew. And so my answer was, my younger self, who was a student, would think I sold out science because I'm a bureaucrat now. My older self says, how naive were you? Because it takes everyone to do science. It takes bureaucrats making sure the money funds the right kind of projects. It takes university professors. It takes students like you coming through the pipeline. It takes researchers at labs working on national security problems that have huge implications, but yet are grand challenge problems. And so it really takes a group of everyone to get the science right. And so that's how I got to where I am, and even listening to my son's hard questions. So what we do at the National Nuclear Security Organization is, Lynn mentioned he's the Undersecretary of Science and Energy. I work for the Undersecretary for Nuclear Security. And we work on non-proliferation, counterterrorism, counterproliferation, but also we work on ensuring that our nuclear stockpile is safe, secure, and reliable. A daunting task, really grand challenge problems. We work in not just multi-scale issues, the temporal range we work in, multi orders of magnitude. The pressures, the temperatures, very difficult, very hard problems. And he mentioned the exascale computing program, the National Security Computing Initiative. We rely on those high-performance computing platforms to do our work. And the kinds of computations we do are challenged by the evolution in those architectures we see in computing platforms. And so we have to work with the folks who run the programs, the codes, and develop the software as we evolve to these new architectures, just to do our work. And so that's basically what we do here. A lot of you have done your practicums. I see a large fraction of you go to the 3 NNSA laboratories, Lawrence Livermore National Lab, Los Alamos National Lab, and San Diego National Lab. I welcome you to each of those laboratories. I think you'll be introduced to the challenge, the enormity of our challenges. And please take advantage of your time. You'll see enormous computational capabilities. But you also see experimental facilities that are supported. We have to design the experiments on these platforms as well. Hope you have the opportunity to see the National Nixon facility and some of our other facilities when you go there. So how would you fit in? We have these enormous challenges. We rely on a pipeline of very smart students, people who do computational science. I do know the difference between computer science and computational science. My son's PhD is in computer science, so he reminds me all the time. But what you do is very, very important. I oversee in my portfolio is our advanced simulation computing program. That's where we develop all the software, all the models, that support the codes we run to support our nuclear security challenges. I also have the R&D shop, the experimental portfolio, the inertial confinement fusion portfolio, as well as an engineering portfolio. And you might wonder, what are the engineering problems we have? We have to look at very complex environments, vibration, fire. We're looking at safety scenarios as well, transport. very complex real-world problems. And so solving these problems is part of our incredibly complex mission, and we rely on folks from a multitude of disciplines. And I think as you go to the laboratories, you'll see the multidisciplinary nature of the laboratory. Revel in it. I don't know where you're going to end up, but revel in the multidisciplinary environment while you're there. So another thing, besides the pipeline, is very important to us. So many of you have gone to our laboratories. We also rely on new ideas. You bring creative ideas. I love it when someone new comes to our laboratory and say, let's do that. And someone says, we've done that before. But don't listen sometimes, because we have new tools, new approaches. So bringing that, so it's not just the pipeline of people, it's the pipeline ideas. It's the pipeline of collaborations. You're going to make friends and collaborators in the group, like Lynn mentioned, the group you have and through your career. Every time I turn around, I see someone in graduate school. You don't realize how small the community really is. And so you bring collaborations, new collaborations, to the table when you come and work for our laboratories or work on national security problems. And also the professors you work for are collaborators for us, again, bringing new ideas and new students to the table. So that's very important to us. So how do we sustain that pipeline of ideas and collaborators and university academic programs? One of them is the CGF program. We have a multitude of other programs that we bring in, and it's very important to us. I'm pleased that they're in my portfolio, because it's very important to bring that pipeline in, because you're really on the bleeding edge of computer science, and especially at extreme scales, multi-scale problems, and we need that. And so when you come to our laboratories, or as you go through your career even, I encourage you to find your niche. It may be being a researcher, it may be being a bureaucrat. It's not as bad as it sounds, because I've learned to enjoy the vicarious, I enabled someone to do some research and to get an award. And so you learn that vicarious nature, similar to you learn that when your kids are going through and you're proud of them. I want you to, I mentioned my kids, they had a hard path getting there. Every kid has trials and tribulations, but watching each of you get to where you're going to go, I encourage you to just keep pursuing your goals, work with others, and lean on your collaborators. It's a multidisciplinary effort we work in. Lean on those collaborators. I want to thank you also for joining STEM. We really need a pipeline of STEM students into our laboratories, into our national security problems. They're enormous, they're important. I know when I went from Oak Ridge and was a scientific researcher working on important energy problems, that was very important. But when I came to the National Nuclear Security Administration laboratories, I really got wedded to the mission. It's a very important mission. I was surprised. I actually surprised myself by that. So, be open to new opportunities and make sure you take advantage of those opportunities. We're proud, as part of the National Nuclear Security Administration, to be partnered with Office of Science in the exascale computing program as part of the President's Initiative on National Strategic Computing Initiative. Our laboratories also participate in the Cancer Moonshot. And so we're very proud to be working on that. It's always surprising to me when we work on biological problems or other, how those problems translate to other fields, because they're basically complex multi-scale problems where we have to deal with a lot of data, we have to deal with complex phenomena. And many times those problems we work on are transferable and very important to the national security problems as well. So I want to thank you for being here. I want to thank you for participating in the program. Honored to be part of the program. I look forward to 3 years from now when we're celebrating 20 years of NNSA being part of the Computational Science Graduate Fellowship. Hopefully I'll be addressing you as well. And like Lynn said, keep up the good work. I appreciate your commitment to the field, and I look forward to your contributions. I also want to say I feel like I was destined to be here. I was looking through the fellowship directory, and I noticed the first fellow is named Kathleen Alexander. I didn't get to meet her last year. And the second one is from Carnegie Mellon, my alumni. And so, it's very, very happy to see the distribution of universities working on this. So, thank you again.